Have you ever taken in a video and then at the end of it, you realize that what you took in was just hot air? Has that ever happened to you? Well, that is my biggest nightmare. Because the latest that has unfolded, actually it happened yesterday and about 2 days earlier, the latest that has unfolded in Kenyan politics has left many people puzzled, worried, but sensing there is definitely something going down here. Of course, I'm talking about the meeting, or rather meetings recently, between the fourth President of the Republic of Kenya, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, and the US envoy in Kenya, Meg Whitman, only 2 days after an earlier meeting had taken place between former President Uhuru Kenyatta and the UK, United Kingdom, envoy. Now, many people sense that there's something cooking. Many people sense that this is much more than just a meeting to discuss progress on the peace initiatives in the Congo and in Ethiopia. Many people sense that. And of course, they are absolutely correct. And of course, what has happened is that analysts are puzzled. Those who have spoken have basically emitted hot air. They have not really told us what is going on. And that is one of the reasons why I took my time with this. Yeah, this happened yesterday. I have taken many hours doing my research, all in a very huge effort to make sure that this video does not come anywhere near hot air. Hewa moto isikaribie hii video hata kidogo. Right. To fully understand what is going on here, the best place to start is with a review of where these major players are currently. Yeah. Now, for instance, if a crime occurs, what detectives will do is to find out the whereabouts of the main possible suspects. Where were they when this thing was going down? Okay. Now, in our case, we're asking, where are these people, these nations involved, this individual, Uhuru Kenyatta, even as this meeting is taking place? And that will help us a great deal to understand with certainty what is happening here. Now, before we proceed, please allow me a few minutes to give you this brief reminder. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those Kumekuchans who have already responded in gifting me during this season when we normally do this. It is a tradition within the Kumekucha family of about 2 years, which really helps me in what I'm doing, which may not be as easy as it may seem from the outside. And I totally understand that. I appreciate that. I'm not bitter in any way, or even upset in case you don't understand. You know, in this life, if you want to do anything meaningful, you just do it. You don't care so much what other people think or what other people feel. Yeah, you just charge ahead and do what it is you have to do. And especially if you're born to do that thing. Because the truth is, if you have to wait for approval from the majority of the people, it will never come. And at the end of the day, never forget that history will judge us all. And even the roles we played, when it was very important, when it was very critical for the country called Kenya, like the situation is now. So whatever you can do wherever you are for a better Kenya, it doesn't have to be on this channel, even out there. Whatever little thing you can do towards a better Kenya, please do it. Yeah? Your nation, your country really needs you. And if because you are busy, and if because of your circumstances maybe out of the country, the only way you can do your bit is by supporting those on the ground, yeah, not only Kumekucha Chris but even others, then please do it. You know, we live in a world these days where everything is recorded. Yeah, so I'm sure 100 years from now, yeah, if the Lord has not returned, people will see your name and they'll be able to say, my great-grandfather was involved in this. My great-grandmother, here is her name. She was deeply involved in a better Kenya. I'm just trying to inspire you. I hope I didn't get carried away. Yeah. So whatever little thing you're doing, just keep on doing it. And I'm especially grateful to those of you who have already responded. You may think you have done something small, yeah, but really you've done something big that will stand the test of time. I believe you have been seeing details on your screens right now. In case you have not yet participated, yeah, in this our tradition, even as I continue to rededicate myself to what I do on this channel. So, the main persons of interest are a guy called UK, somebody else called USA, and finally, yeah, but not the least important, indeed the most important in this case, the fourth President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, it is not a secret that the popularity of Uhuru Kenyatta has grown in leaps and bounds over the last few months. So much so that there are bloggers who have been hired specifically to bring down Uhuru's popularity. And I know for a fact that they have looked. They looked. They searched. They looked. They found nothing important, nothing effective enough to bring down the popularity of Uhuru. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Uhuru Kenyatta is a politician. He is not clean. Yes, you're safi kama pamba. However, remember this case, you're trying to bring down the popularity of a very popular man whose popularity is still growing. You will not do it with like a small scandal. No. You need something major. And that is what these bloggers have failed to find. There was a half-hearted attempt, yeah, to try and convince Kenyans that Uhuru Kenyatta was the main and only beneficiary of the Eurobond of 2014, yeah, the Eurobond that was floated, yeah, with funds which were supposed to help Kenya, but which vanished into thin air. And that one did not fly, for the very simple reason that Kenyans these days, hey, they are smart. Shortly before this propaganda was floated, yeah, somebody on Twitter had gone crazy reminding Kenyans about somebody called Jacob Juma. And what was Jacob Juma telling us? Jacob Juma was talking a lot about the Eurobond. Yeah? And therefore you float that propaganda after this very effective Twitter campaign. You see where I'm going with this one? Flying is out of question. That propaganda will never fly. But what is even more fascinating in this instance is why Uhuru is popular. Because this is the man who rigged out Raila Odinga not too long ago in 2017 during those presidential elections. There were a number of scandals linked to Uhuru Kenyatta during his presidency. Those are cold facts. However, something very fascinating has been happening on these shores. Kenyans have now focused very closely on the idea that although Uhuru Kenyatta was president, there were other people very powerful in his administration, who would have been involved in those scandals. And the evidence is easy to find in the current administration, because we are seeing some familiar telltale signs behind the terrible things happening in our country that suggest that the hand behind them could be the hand behind a few bad things which happened during the Uhuru Kenyatta presidency. Kenyans have remembered who was the most powerful person, individual, in the Uhuru Kenyatta administration from 2013 to around 2015-2016. Kenyans are remembering that. And of course it was a man called William Samoei Ruto. But by far the biggest reason for Uhuru's popularity is simply the fact that the Ruto administration, with their policies, with their moves, the way they have governed, if you can call it that, has made the Uhuru Kenyatta presidency look like the golden years of Kenya. That is really what it is. That is the main reason for the fourth president's wild popularity. Now, I have not gone off topic, because don't fool yourself. These other two individuals, if I can call them individuals, Mr. UK and Mr. Uncle Sam, they normally analyze Kenyan politics very closely, so that they ensure that their interests in the short term, middle term, and long term are served. That is what they do all the time. So don't fool yourself for a second that they have not taken note of this development in our politics. And so all this is very relevant to the recent meetings. And while we are still there, please allow me to draw your attention to some very interesting developments in the US over the last 2 or so years. A former president has come back big time. That former president is Barack Hussein Obama. And what exactly has been his role in this big comeback? In my opinion, it has been to steady the presidency of President Biden. Now just keep that at the back of your mind. We're going to put it all together at the end. Now for this next point, I need Kenyans and those who follow this channel who have the memory of an elephant. And I want you to cast your mind back to 2013 during the presidential campaigns, and especially 2017 during those presidential campaigns before the general election. Now in 2013, after those very puzzling presidential elections, I wrote a book titled Mystery Monday. Those elections were on a Monday. And it was a very difficult book to write because there was no information. And even opinion leaders, people who should know, appeared to be puzzled, confused. But I'm grateful to Almighty God, because even today, looking back and reading what I wrote, it was very close to the truth. I still got close to the truth. In 2017, many things happened, including the very unfortunate murder of IEBC computer guru Chris Msando. But I want you to focus on the run-up to those elections, and especially what was happening at the then fairly infant social media. Bila kizungu mingi, looking back now, we can definitely conclude with authority that things were being manipulated. And later on, we got some mind-blowing evidence that this manipulation was being assisted by people who were not Kenyans. Yes, it was being done by Kenyans, but there was a lot of help, planning, the oversight. The main guys behind that manipulation were not Kenyans. I am sure some of us remember Cambridge Analytica. Do you remember that? It was very clear, at least it would have been very clear to me, that it was not so difficult to manipulate Kenyans. It wasn't. All you needed was enough money and the right skills, and you would get Kenyans to go in whatever direction you wanted them to go into. To illustrate just how effective these chaps were, the locals, whom we all know very well, with the help from their foreign friends, to illustrate how effective they were. In late 2016, early 2017, I was making my comeback into political analysis. After having earlier retired forever in 2014, I was sure I was not going to come back. Most of you know the story. So 2016 late and early 2017, I was trying to get back into the political game, making contact here and there, with those who used to give me information, creating new contacts, etc., etc. And if you go back and take in my early videos, early 2017 videos, you will notice something very fascinating. In most of those early videos, I got it all wrong. I failed. In other words, I was completely fooled by the manipulation. And I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. I can be fooled. But you see, what I'm trying to say here is that somebody who is a professional political analyst spends their whole day analyzing politics is not the same as somebody who is busy in the office and then comes at the end of the day to try and catch up on what has been happening. You can't compare the two. Even if the analyst is not very bright, they will obviously have an unfair advantage, the analyst, over the busy Kenyan, trying to get his news here and there on social media and elsewhere. My point is, even if it was you, you would have known that this is a gravy train, of fooling, manipulating Kenyans very easily. This is a gravy train that will continue for a long time. You'll be able to reap from it for a very long time. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, but fortunate for the people of Kenya, that gravy train ilienda, imeenda, imeisha. Fooling Kenyans nowadays, fooling the masses in Kenya, is not as easy as it was then. And the most significant impact of this is that it has removed from the table one of the very important tools that has been used in the past to manipulate elections and then manipulate Kenyans into accepting a rigged president via a grand coalition government or a handshake. That tool is now out of play. It can no longer be used. And one of the main reasons is what I've just talked about. Manipulation of the masses in Kenya has become very difficult. Fast forward to the present. What has been happening is that some very powerful people have been pushing very hard for a handshake. It would now seem that those people have realized a handshake will not work This time round, it won't fly. There are those of us who believe that handshake actually attempted a takeoff. But that takeoff did not happen. Takeoff was aborted. And now they've realized handshake cannot work. And remember that Kenya is a very important country to the West. Very important. Now let me give you one latest example to prove that. There is an initiative in the UK, to deal with the immigrants. You know, these boatloads of people who risk their lives to land in the UK. And then they seek to remain in the UK. This has put a lot of pressure on the United Kingdom resources. Because many people don't realize this. The UK is a very small island. It is not like the USA. And politicians have come up with a possible solution. When people land in the UK, as they're being processed, they are flown to Rwanda, which is in East Africa. And those immigrants are maintained for 5 years in Rwanda as their cases are being handled on whether they're going to be allowed into the United Kingdom or not. Now, of course, that plan has hit many challenges, including legal ones, human rights issues, etc., etc. But staying on topic, for that plan to work, if it will finally work, Kenya is going to be key. Because everything is in Kenya. You can't do anything significant in East Africa without a strong presence, without your headquarters, everything happening in Kenya. That is the truth. Bottom line, if things go belly up in Kenya, there is nothing the Wazungus are going to be able to do in the entire region successfully and efficiently. It can't work. And so, we need to know that the most significant point behind the recent meeting between President Uhuru Kenyatta and those Wazungus is that somebody somewhere has changed their minds about a handshake, because it has failed to work. And therefore, they have come up with a new idea. And the whole objective of this new idea is to stabilize things in Kenya, to turn around things in Kenya, remove Kenya from that road to disaster where the country is currently. And it would appear that the person to play a key role in this new initiative is the 4th President of the Republic of Kenya. And of course it helps a lot that is already very popular with Kenyans. Now, I don't have the details of exactly how they intend to do this, but my guess is that he will mainly play a role, very critical key role, behind the scenes to steady the presidency of William Samoei Ruto. And of course the important question here now is, will it work? And the answer I can give you right away: no, it will not work. And the reason why it will not work has a lot to do with the season we have entered into as a country. It is a season of judgment. It is also a season of exposure. It will be very difficult in this season to do things secretly, especially things against the people of Kenya, and get away with it without people knowing. It will be very difficult. And of course the main reason is spiritual. It is the season. And the other reason why I'm sure it will not work is because of what the spiritual are saying. What are they saying? They are saying, overturn, overturn, overturn. They are saying the presidency, the administration of William Samoei Ruto, its days are numbered. What else are they saying? Floods will continue countrywide, while in other parts of the country there'll be drought. Natural disasters, judgment, are going to escalate in the Mount Kenya region and in the Rift Valley. What else are they saying? The economy, despite the best efforts of the best thinkers, the best economists, they can't save Kenya's economy. It will continue going down, down, down. They are saying mambo bado, tena bado sana. That's what they're saying. And indeed we can read the signs of the times very clearly, even if we don't want to listen to them, even if we don't believe in the spiritual, which controls us anyway, even if we don't believe it. And for those who love the fourth president, there is a major danger here. Yeah. His legacy, which was secure, may be in danger, yeah, depending on the decisions he makes going forward. Now, it is of course not lost on close observers that whatever happened at the bombers in August 2022, yeah, that sent the vast majority of Kenyans into mourning, whatever happened, two characters were prominently present. Yeah, and those are the same two characters that met with President Uhuru Kenyatta. One chap is called the United Kingdom, and the other fellow is called Uncle Sam. You can just call him Sam. Those two guys were very prominent at the bombers and what unfolded, whatever it was that unfolded against the people of Kenya. And I find it super fascinating that the main players who may have been in the shadows in the minds of many Kenyans have now come out into the open. You can see them with your own eyes. Truly, truly, this is the season of exposure. Now, very quickly before I go, we still have those slots for anybody interested in sponsoring a Kumekucha video. Our sponsors so far report very positive results, which confirms that we reach a very unique audience. In case you're interested, you'll find details in the description area below this video. WIB number 116 is out, has been out for a couple of days now, and those who have taken it in have had some very interesting comments, yeah? And generally they have found that it has helped them a lot to understand many of the confusing things that are unfolding in our politics right now. Yeah? You can take full advantage of our latest offer, 2005 Kenya shillings, and that is the year the Kumekucha brand was launched, May 2005, in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And in case you want to take this subscription via PayPal, it is only $15. And of course you'll receive all the back editions since we started of the weekly intelligence briefings, well over 100. And then you'll be able to continue receiving at least another 52 weekly intelligence briefings, yeah, 1 year subscription. And that means that if in a year we have not yet produced 52, your subscription runs until you get your 52 editions of the highly sensitive, very informative weekly intelligence briefings. Go for it. I highly recommend it. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.